Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another edition of NCOPD Live, hosted by yours truly, Staff Sergeant Hicks, hashtag the professional SGL. As always, we're coming at you live from the over the airways of Fort Lee, Virginia. Listen, we got the special guest in the building. We decided every so often we were going to highlight a veteran, someone that has previously served in the military. And I am proud to welcome to the platform one of my closest and dearest friends, the one and only Staff Sergeant retired Reshard Hicks. What's going on, Battle?
What's going on, Battle? What's up? What up? What up? How y'all doing out there?
So first and foremost, I know a question that everybody's going to ask, are we related to each other? You know, I haven't really looked.
We ain't looked in it yet.
We ain't looked into it yet, but that may be something. That may be something that we need to look into. So before we even get started, man, tell myself in the NCOPD Live family a little bit about yourself, where you were born, and your hobbies and things like that you want us to know. Mike is yours.
Well, hope y'all got some time because I got a lot of stuff I can say today. Now I'm gonna try to give y'all the clip notes part of it. I'm originally from Tampa, Florida, born in Tallahassee, Florida. I'm a product of a military child, military father. My dad retired 20 years in the Navy. Of course, he was a little upset when I decided to go to the Army. So, you know, it's a little rivalry going in there. Go from a back generations of military men and women, uncles and aunts, both been in the military. Before joining the Army, I attended Fordham University, finished my degree at Concordia University with I have a master's in exercise science. What else? You know, that's just the clip notes part about it. I am a, prior service again, played football in college. Now, again, I'm a personal trainer now, fitness trainer, professional boxer. Again, a little clip notes about it.
Okay, so let me ask this, man. I like to get a feel for my guest. You're a sportsman, right? Are you?
Right.
Okay. Favorite NFL team?
So I'm from Tampa, and we just got Brady. So.
Okay, so you're a Buccaneers fan, or you just recently became back a Buccaneers fan since y'all got Brady?
I've always been a Buccaneers fan. I've been in hiding the last couple of years, but you know I can come out of hiding now. You know what I mean? I'll toot every once in a while when he score a touchdown or something like that. But you know, it is what it is.
Okay, okay, got it. Well, listen, man. Definitely appreciate you accepting the invitation to come on to the show. So like I said, man, every so often I want to kind of change the scene up a little bit here on NCOPD Live and give our veterans an opportunity to come on and give some time back. So you are actually the second one. Our previous one from a few weeks back was Sergeant First Class retired Frazier. And so I would love to give opportunity for veterans to come on to the platform, especially those that support the platform. So without any further ado, the first topic I want to talk to you about is your life in the military. And I want to highlight something real quick. When I first met then Sergeant Reshard Hicks, we were in, back then it was called WLC. Now it's called BLC. And he was the first sergeant for our class while we were there. And when I saw this guy, I saw you when you were marching us together. We were all four platoons together. You were marching us to Chow. And I heard this young man called Cadence. And listen, I was like, that was the second best person I heard called Cadence besides my drill sergeant when I came through AIT. So talk to us a little bit about your experience in the military.
Man, it's crazy that you say that, man. When I came into the military, when I came into my unit after AIT, I came in with an AAM, and my AAM was because it may be funny. My AAM was literally because I was the only student first sergeant in the last few years to never get fired from AIT. So,
wow.
Yeah, it was, seriously, if I show you my AAM, you will see like that, my PT score and everything else. But I kind of naturally just fell into it. But when I come to talk about my being in the military, I kind of fast track. You know what I mean? So I didn't get the chance to actually spend time as being a soldier. You know what I mean? I was already in the responsibility category by the time I was already before 2 years I was in. So when you met me back then, I was only 2 years deep into the Army. So
Okay.
but I love every second of it, man. For those who don't know, again, I'm medically retired. Had I not medically retired, I would have stayed in, man. I love being a soldier. I love leading soldiers. I love, the camaraderie. A lot of people here most of the time when veterans get out, the first thing they say is them camaraderie is something that they miss the most. Definitely one of the things that I miss the most. I can tell you now, I still wake up before my alarm goes off at 6 o'clock in the morning. I still do things. I still dress my stuff. Heck, sometimes I even fold my socks, roll my socks up. So it's ingrained in me, man. It's even to the point to where my son also has the same military lifestyle as me. And I see somebody say, "Cadence, listen," I still call cadence in my head sometimes. I be walking, I hear people, but oh, he ain't doing it right. So
yeah. So talk to me about well, first of all, before we get about past leaders, talk to me about what inspired you to join the military. A lot of people come in for different reasons, but what inspired Reshard Hicks to join the military?
So this is coming off being a little bit boasting and bragging, but this, I promise you, this not what it is at all. Going up through high school, I was, a high school standout athlete. Football, basketball, track. I was even the player of the year, athlete of the year, 2003 when I came out of high school. Yes, I said 2003. I'm 35 years old. I know I don't look it. I got it. All right. Came out of high school 2003. Joined college, played football, ran track, came an All-American. By that time, I kind of lost that purpose because I only really went to college because I wanted to go to school. I'm huge nerd. So once that was over, I was like, give me something challenging to do. I literally joined the military because I wanted something to challenge me to do. So,
okay. So tell me about some previous leaders that you had over your career that made an impact with you that stood out to you while you were in the military.
Man, I never forget. I had a drill sergeant Bundridge. Never forget him. Most of the time, I you got a negative thought about your drill sergeant. But when then I tell you about this one drill sergeant, he talked to you as a human being. Of course, he did the same things drill sergeants do, but he gave me some of the best advice I've ever took in being in military. And I remember he said, some people gonna get awards that don't deserve it. Some people gonna get promotions that don't deserve it. He said, all you gotta do is keep doing you because somebody's watching. He also said, if you don't like the way your leadership is leading you, shut up, make rank, and change things from the inside out. And I always remember that. And that's kind of why I wanted to fast track in the military, because I saw when I got to my unit, I saw a lot of things, just, I guess you would say, ethically that wasn't right and morally wasn't right. And I wanted to make sure that the people going up, I used to hear a lot when I first got there, how much people didn't like being in the Army, didn't like, some of their leadership. And every time I heard that, I didn't want it to influence me. So I just tell them, hey, even my peers, stand fast, give me some time, I'll make the change on inside out. So that was one of the things. Another thing that helped me out is I had NCOs who, and I know it's frowned upon in the military when you have NCOs that kind of buddy with you. But these NCOs wasn't just like buddies. I looked at them as brothers. Me as an E3, I had E6s and E7s because I worked in the shop office at the time with Sam's One Box. And of course, being a mechanic, I'm already working in the level E6 slot as an E3. So, of course, I was in the room with a lot of higher ups. I was in the room with a bunch of CW4s, CW3s, all kinds of higher ranking people. But at the same time, whenever I messed up, whenever I was wrong, they didn't, hey, don't do that. They literally disciplined me. And I always learned that. And that kind of molded my approach to being in the military.
Okay. So I heard you say that if you weren't medically retired, if you didn't have to medically get discharged or retired from the Army, that you would have stayed in. So what went through your mind when you were told that hey, we think what's best is for you. What's best for you is that we're gonna have to let you get out of the military because I know you want to be in it because there's some things I'm finna share to kind of highlight that. But how did you feel when that news was broken to you?
Well, honest with you, I thought to myself, all right, you've done a lot of stuff in your life. You've overcome a lot of challenges. There's something else you're gonna overcome. You got to overcome. I didn't panic because I know panic would have caused a lot more stress that I didn't want. I knew that, because I was medically retiring, that I was going to be taken care of. But I was thinking about what my next career could be. All right, so I got to back up because I was a mechanic. I learned early being a mechanic. I didn't want to be a mechanic no more. So I learned early. So that was out the crescent that was out the books for me. I didn't want to be a mechanic going out the army. So I did what I knew best. I went back to school. Got through school. Found something that I enjoyed doing, which is being a trainer. Now I have a master's degree in exercise science.
Okay. So we have a first question from this is Command Sergeant Major Breckenridge. He is the Fort Leonard Wood Command Sergeant Major for that Army installation. So his question to you is, what is the most memorable moment in the military?
Man, as I was in Talil, Iraq. And this is what I'm talking about when I say leadership. I was in Talil, Iraq. We just landed. We just got briefed. We just was told what happens in the incoming. Of course, being a soldier for the first time, most of my peers were already been there once or twice before. We had our first incoming. And naturally, your anxiety pops up. You forget all your training like that. Like that. All the training goes out the window. Forget it. But I had an NCO, again, shout out to my NCOs, who saw me. He knew me. This is how you know your soldiers. He knew me when I'm calm, and he knows me when I'm, raised up. He grabbed me, stopped me, and say, look here, Specialist Hicks, you're going to be okay. Find the bunker, get in the bunker, and I'll sit there with you. He said that with me, talked me through it. Before I knew it, the coast was already clear, and we were still in the bunker just talking about life experiences. And that kind of molded me. And I always remember that. Instead of yelling at my soldiers, hey, do this, do that, just simply talk to them respectfully, like calm, because you don't know, just that calmness in your voice could just de-escalate the situation for that person.
So brings me to this question. So I'm gonna give you a scenario. I'm gonna take you back a little bit. I don't know if you're gonna remember this. Maybe when I start talking about it, you'll remember. So we were sitting on the bleachers at the drill pad at Fort Hood. It was after chow hours. We were just sitting out there. We were in PTs. And you was telling me, you was like, I was a platoon sergeant at that time. You was still a first sergeant. You was like, hey man, I'm thinking about being a boxer. I was like, what? I was like, nah, man. Like, no, you're not gonna be a boxer. And you was like, nah, man. Like, this is something I'm really thinking about doing. I really want to be a boxer. And I tried everything in my power to deter you from going out to be a boxer. But the point I want to highlight is kind of like what you just said. You always took the time to sit down and talk to people. And before we ended that conversation, I told you that I was struggling with land nav. I don't know if you remember. I told you I was struggling with land nav. And I was like, hey, man, this is probably because this back then, land nav was a requirement. I don't know what it is now, but land nav was a requirement because you had to find 4 points. And I was like, hey, man, I'm having a problem with land nav. And I think we had land nav like that weekend that was coming up. This was like early in the week.
Right.
And you told me, you like, hey, man, I got you. Every day we going to sit down and we going to talk about land nav. And you took me aside. I remember one time we got in trouble from the commandant. And remember that time he had us stripping the hallways and we had to wax the hallways?
Yes.
You took me outside while they were stripping the floor and getting ready to wax. We were going to wax, but the junior leaders, the squad leaders had to strip it, and the platoon sergeants and stuff, and the first sergeant, we were going to wax it. While they were stripping it, you taught me how to do land nav. And that rested with me. So I kind of want to highlight and give you a segue to talk about why were you always people first? Like you would always take time to help others?
Man, because it's one of them, it's a touch. Everybody go through stuff in their life. You know what I mean? And I had to learn. I was emancipated when I was 16 years old. I've been on my own for a long time. No one really grabbed me by the shoulders and led me to teach me anything until I got into the Army. To me, that was everything to me. Because when I first joined, I was one of those hotheads. Hey, again, I was a football All-American. I was doing all this stuff. And I had those NCOs downrange when I first got in who, led me. Hey, soldier, you're doing this wrong. You're doing this wrong. Now, for example, I know me. I'm a smart addict. I'm one of them guys. I'm very witty, which is why I'm a comedian now. I'm very witty. So, and one thing you couldn't do to me is you couldn't tell me a regulation or tell me to do something and think that I wasn't going to go back and look it up to gain knowledge. Only problem was I didn't have tact when I did it. I never did anything tactfully. Right? So I had those NCOs again. It spanked me when I was wrong and praised me when I was right. And so I always put that in the forefront whenever I'm talking to somebody. Instead of thinking about me first, because it's always you're only as strong as your weakest link. It's not me first. If my battle buddy can't get through it, I need to go help him get through it. Because who knows when I might need you for something. And if I turn my back on you, then why would you help me? Don't burn bridges. And I always learned that. Never burn bridges.
Yeah.
Because you might, next thing you know, who's to say that you might be in charge of my promotion? You know what I mean? Never know.
This joker didn't help me with land now. You know what? Nah, he don't need to get promoted. Yeah.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
That was the last I've never forgotten. And like I said, if it was two things I ever remember, I remembered you calling Cadence. And like I said, that was like the second best time. And my brother on here, he's gonna clown me. And no, I was a specialist. All right. Yeah. But I passed land nav and I did get 3 out of 4 because of this young man right here, since my brother want to come on here and clown me. But that was one of the two memories that I remembered of you is when I heard you call Cadence, and I wasn't a platoon sergeant at that time. I was in the squad, but I'll never forget I was in 4th platoon, and I was like, man, who's that calling Cadence?
Right.
And that's when we first met later on that week when I first heard you call Cadence, and then the second memory that I have of you is when you actually sat, and I'm not saying that. You know how some people take you aside and like, hey, you need to do this, and this. All right, now make it happen. Like you actually took the time and said, okay, hey, look, this is how you plot a point. You do this. This is your first step. You do this. You got to make sure your map is orientated to the layout of the. I mean, like you actually took time to sit down and not just tell me about it, but actually explain it. And most leaders in the Army, both past and present, are not leaders like that. It's more like, all right, this is what you need. Okay, go figure it out. So you differentiated yourself to not be that type of leader. Go ahead.
Yeah, and then that's the problem with even to this day I see it. It's so hard for me to get out of that mind frame of being an NCO. Even when I see soldiers this time, I try not to step on other NCOs' toes, but I am definitely one of those guys. And I'm never, and you know me, I've never been the type to embarrass anybody regardless. Never been that type. Because I feel like when you do that to a soldier, you lose his respect, and then you make that soldier be exactly what you portray to him, to someone else. You build another soldier who are just like that. So, I've always said, when you do for your soldier, they do for you. See what I'm saying? When you take your time and you talk to your soldiers and you lead them the right way and you tell them what's wrong, what's right, they do better. Not only for in the military and out of the military.
Okay. So now you came out of the military and you did what you said you were gonna do. A professional boxer, welterweight, right? Welterweight division. Okay, so man, I gotta ask you this question. Your very first professional fight, what was it like?
So I have a saying. When people ask me how do I feel when I'm getting into a ring, Of course I'm nervous. Of course I'm nervous, right? But
Mm-hmm.
I don't been to war. Stepping in the ring is easy.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? I done been in combat zone. Stepping in war stepping into a ring is easy. I think stepping into a ring is probably easier than anything else. Why? Because, you know, God willing, the chances of me, making it out is higher than it was me making it out down ring. So it's nervous, but I know I put in the work. You know what I mean? It's just me and that man. I know I put in the work. So
Okay. So your first fight, walk us through it, man. You're walking to the ring. What's going through your mind? Because I remember you were Reshard Too Quick Hicks. That was your name, man. So like everything, what's racing through your mind? Is it things of the militaries or the things that you were training for in the gym? Like what's going through your mind while you're sitting backstage and then you're getting ready to walk to the ring?
as I'm walking to the ring, I'm talking to myself. I'm like, I literally talk to myself like, calm down, breathe, breathe, calm down, breathe. Once I get into the ring, people laugh when I say this, but it's so true. I say, well, you're here now. Can't be no punk. You can't leave out the ring.
Yeah.
You in here now, so you might as well fight. That's literally the same spec. Hey, you here now.
Okay. And you get that first win under your belt. How did it make you feel?
Mayweather has the best saying, and a lot of people don't like Floyd Mayweather, but he has the best saying. He says, if you feel like you lost already, he said, if you feel like you're going to lose, you already lost. Mm-hmm. So when I step in the ring, I've already visioned myself coming out of the ring victorious.
Okay. So man, you are you have a host of championship belts. Mm-hmm. So talk to me about what was your first title that you won, and then speak on your other titles. And then the second part of that question is which one meant the most significance or was the most significant to you?
My very first one, the most significant for me. Reason being is this. I told everyone who would listen to me that I was going to have, first and foremost, host another boxing fight in Fort Hood, Texas, because they said boxing was dead in Texas. So I said, I'm going to have the first fight in Texas. And I also said, I'm going to be the Texas welterweight champion. Everybody told me. And I remember when we talked, mm-hmm. And everyone was like, hey, you kind of old, man. Because I started at 25. Hey, man, you kind of old. Kind of too old to be starting boxing. Most people didn't know is I started boxing, and I only started boxing because of cancer. Because cancer was a thing that had me going. I was diagnosed with stage 1 stomach cancer in 2010. Mm-hmm. 2009, 2010. Luckily, I beat it because I caught it very early in the very beginning stages of it. And I had a doctor to say, hey, there's a smoker going on Fort Hood. You should take it up because you need to do something. Because as the athlete say, you'll start withering away if you don't do something. And so I did it. And then everybody was like, hey, man, you're too old to be doing this. Too old to do that. And even when I was an amateur, you're too old to be amateur. So when I turned pro, I was like, this is what I'm going to do. This is how I'm going to do it. This is when I'm going to do it. So that's why that first title was absolutely everything to me. Now, my second title, when I won that one, that was, every person, I won't say every person, most people don't talk about it a lot, but most veterans suffer with some kind of mental illness. Me, mm-hmm. I'm no exception to it. I can talk about it now because I've been able to talk to other people about it. At first, when I first got out, my PTSD was, not having, you got your own, your guidance, you got your own guidance. You make your own plan. You don't know where to be. You know what I mean? Like your schedule's all off whack, and the camaraderie is gone. Okay. So I was definitely in that rabbit hole, and when I found myself putting on weight that I shouldn't put on, so first and foremost, I was under contract, so I had to fight. I was all the way up to 182 pounds. Never forget it. And I fight at 147. Mm-hmm. All the way up to 82 pounds. They told me I had 3 weeks to cut weight and fight for the championship fight. So I had to cut all that weight to make 147 pounds. That was already a struggle. And then I won the fight in the third round. And it was like all my struggles and all my fights came out in emotions after I won that title. So that was my most important title to me.
Okay. So talk to me about what's next. Are you still pursuing your boxing career, or Have you hung up the gloves, or do you think you're going to get back into it, or what?
With this COVID thing, man, it slowed down everything. My last fight was in Madison Square Garden. That was my first loss. Yeah, so I'm 12-1-1. But I ain't gonna get into the specifics of that fight because had I been fully prepared for it, I'd still be undefeated. But not get into it.
So for the record, before you keep going, when you posted, I was against that because yeah, you was hurt. I said, and I don't know why you did it, but go ahead.
I was under so when I'm under contract, people don't say it, I was under contract for that fight. So I couldn't say no to it because of the contract stipulations. Of course, I had just had the surgery.
Yes.
So, and I had just had the surgery, and within 5 weeks of the surgery, they was telling me I had to go fight. Whatever. But I fought in Madison Square Garden. I was supposed to fight again. And of course, I'm not getting any younger, man. So I'm at 35 years old now. So I pick up boxing career whenever they call me. But I have 2 years left under my contract. So we'll see what happens after that.
Okay. So there is the possibility that we can see you back in the ring.
Oh, you will see me back in the ring? Just no win.
Okay. So let me ask you this question while we're talking about boxing. Have you used any of your motivation or your things that you were taught in the Army, like for instance, the Army values or the Soldier's Creed or the NCO Creed that you use to drive or catapult you now as a boxer?
It's not so much of the Soldier's Creed or the ethos or none of that stuff. It's just so much of the will and the spirit.
Okay.
I mean, I had a buddy. Some people may know him. His name was Staff Sergeant Quade Hudgens. Sorry, Staff Sergeant Quade Hudgens. He was killed in action. He was also all-army boxer. I boxed with him for the first time at Fort Hood. I will never forget it. He was home on R&R, and he called me right before he took off to go back to downrange. And he said, "Hey man, listen, when I get back, we're gonna turn pro." I said, "All right, bet." Unfortunately, the day he got back, his he was killed in action the day he got back. So we never got to feel that. So when I'm fighting, I'm going through training, I put in my mind, hey, you're doing something that God gave you the ability to do. And there's a lot of people who can't do what you're doing right now. So when I'm complaining about not being able to finish a round, or I'm complaining about how tired I am, complaining about how sore I am, I instantly think of Quade, and I instantly think about everybody else who want to be able to do what I'm doing, but don't have the ability to do whatever I'm doing.
Okay. So we will be seeing you back in the ring as well. I definitely follow you as well. But I kind of want to shift the conversation now. We talked about your military career, your professional boxing career. You have since recently now galvanized, from what I've seen, the Fort Hood, Killeen, excuse me, Harker Heights and that surrounding area,
right,
as a young activist. So with everything that's going on, and I know it's a touchy subject, I thought about not touching on it, but I have to ask you this question. It's probably rhetorical, but what propelled you to want to become an activist in your community?
So, of course, we ain't gonna get into a lot of detail about what's going on because everyone sees it. But it's so much not having people wanting to step up and do it, not because they don't want to, but because they don't know how to, or they're worried about the backlash of doing it. Killeen is ranked number 8 in the world, in the U.S. for crime rate, number 8 in the world. Little Killeen that a lot of people don't even know about, it's ranked number 8 in the world. So when I put together a protest, I purposely said peaceful protest. People told me that it can't be done. It couldn't be done because Killeen is too violent. Killeen don't know how to act. I took it upon myself. I linked up with a couple of people on my team. And next thing you know, it was accomplished. We held a peaceful protest. As you've been seeing, it's been spread across the news. So with that, it catapulted me to now. I've linked up with some of the candidates that's running for office in November. Some of the political people here some of the forefront people here, some people who are making some movements. And man, when I tell you this happened Sunday, we put together a peaceful protest of over 2,500 people. I didn't even expect that to happen. 2,500 people. Not one person was arrested. Not one person was injured. Not one business was broken into. That speaks to the testament of the the communication I have and the respect I have for the community. Now, it wasn't just me. I had a team of people with me who also helped. But it just shows me that if you put your mind to something and you have a vision, you can accomplish it without making excuses for why not. So
yeah. So I mean, I guess so. I guess it goes back somewhat to your military career, because I remember all of us platoon sergeants, when you were the first sergeant, we looked to you. We looked to you for guidance, and you were able to galvanize the unit while we were in BLC. So it's almost like it kind of transpired or transferred over to your civilian life, that you're still able, as a young guy, as a young man, to galvanize people throughout your community and get people to listen to you. What do you think is your best character trait in order to get people to want to follow and want to get out there and listen to what you have to say?
Without a doubt, I like to listen to people. Anyone who follow me know that if I put a topic on my Facebook or on my social media, I'm opening it up for discussion. I seek to understand the people. So you can't lead the people without knowing what the people want or think. So I like to play devil's advocate a lot. So I put something out there because I want informative and respectful dialogue. I mean, I want to hear what you think, why you think that, or why you oppose to this. Like, I want to understand the people, and I want to get a feeling of, okay, what can I do to change? I would never tell somebody they're wrong for their opinion. I would never tell somebody they're wrong, as long as no one try to tell me I'm wrong for the way I think. Right? And I think that's what's wrong with a lot of things that's going on in this world now. People want to tell you how to feel and what you should think, but I'm trying to understand why you feel the way you feel and why you think the way you think. So I think my best attribute is being able to listen and react. A lot of people, they hear you, but they don't listen to you. I mean, that's why I didn't, a sensing session, all that stuff, I never believed in it, because all it is just to check the block. Hey, I did it. You know what I mean? I did it. So, what did you come out of it? What did you get out of it? If I'm talking to my soldier and I'm counseling statement and I'm counseling a soldier and I write it down, best believe 30 days later, I'm going to come back and do my review of what I wrote in that counseling statement to see how we improved or if we improved or not. And then if I didn't, all right, so now I need to, counsel myself to see where I went wrong and how I can, get the soldier to where they need. And I think that's a lot of things that people are missing, and that's by far my best attribute.
Okay. So another tough question, man, because of what's going on and you choosing to come forward and be an activist now in your community. It's rough out there right now. It is tough. And a lot of people are looking for leadership like yourself in their communities and in certain leaders. But my question to you is that it's hard for a young Black male to come out in the community and try to get people to we understand their anger, we understand their frustration, but to get them to do it peacefully because of the thing that's going on with racism, as well as other host of topics in the United States. So my question to you is what do you hope to see come out of this movement that you have started?
I hope to see a community reacting as one. For example, I'm working on a board to where the community is more in charge of their community. The community leaders are more in charge of the community than the police or those authorities over them. What I mean by that is we hold forums. Your forums, you sit the police chief, some of the captains in a room, you get some of the people in the communities. For example, every community has the person that they know they can go to.
Mm-hmm.
Especially in the neighbor in the hood, let's just say in the hood, you can go to Ron because Ron runs his neighborhood. If you want anything to happen, go to Ron.
Mm-hmm.
I'm working on a program to where, hey, we can sit down with Ron, police chief, me, somebody from another neighborhood, or just me, Ron, and the police chief. Ron talking to, hey man, listen, here's what's going on in the neighborhood. For example, Miss Martha tried to talk to the landlord because she got her water heater's broken, and the landlord ain't done nothing about it. So what can you do to help us ensure that this landlord is gonna do his job? You know what I mean, like stuff like that. So the community can get trust back into the police forces, and not only get trust back in the police force, getting trust back in the actual citizens in the community. That way, everything formulates to where we trust in each other versus looking behind each other's back, wondering if this person thinks a certain type of way. Because let's understand something. We are 50 plus years removed, 100 years plus removed, 200 years plus removed from racism or civil rights and all this other stuff. And it's not going anywhere no time soon. Plain simple. You're not going to cure racism. You're not going to cure, bigotry. You're not going to cure this stuff tomorrow. All you can do is try to understand your neighbor versus wondering what your neighbor thinks.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay. So it sounds like, man, so one thing that still rests with you is selfless service, giving back to your community. And a lot of people, when they get up into a certain social status, for instance, you being a professional boxer, like most people don't give back to their community. But one of the things I like about is that you're still in that position to give back and give the people. I feel that you give the people a sense of hope. And I want you to kind of talk about why do you think that that's important to give back and give the people a sense of hope to believe that if we pull together that we can affect or we can stimulate some type of change. Mike is yours.
Because right now people are looking for someone to carry a torch for them. People are looking for someone to be their voice. Who am I with the platform I have to silence my platform and not use my platform for other people, right? I could be that voice for somebody who needs help, who's reaching out, who's crying. And I think it's important because it also trickles down to the next generation. You know what I mean? So even if, it's crazy because some of my elders have been coming to me lately. Hey, can you do this for us? Can you talk? And now when I'm doing that, now my son, just put my son in this business, about to be 10 years old. He's seeing what his dad is doing. Maybe he might want to say, hey, you know what? Let me carry that torch for my dad. You know what I'm saying? Let me carry that torch. Let me do what my dad is doing. So when you do for people, you don't understand the trickle-down effect it has. You don't understand the faith they might put in you or the hope you gave them by just simply being there and being that voice for them.
Mm-hmm. So a lot of people, man, some of the things that we're seeing out in the civilian sector, man, a lot of people, like you were just saying a couple of things, are reluctant to say something in the military. We see it. We understand the left and right limits of what we can and cannot say and can and cannot do while in the military. While you were in the military, did you see some of the things that you're seeing in the civilian sector now? And is that what's causing you to realize because you're able to recognize some of the things that are happening right now?
So absolutely. A lot of things that happened while I was in that I couldn't speak on because of my label. Mm-hmm. And to me, I think that is a problem, not only for the person, but also for the military in itself. Let's be honest. I mean, you know me, I always speak my mind. Some people gonna like it, some people won't like it. It's hard when you know that racism exists. It's even harder when you know racism exists where you are.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
We'll make sure you address this question at the end.
Okay. Yeah. It's hard. It's hard when you address racism that's in front of you. So I didn't experience too many of the things that's happening outside the military, but more so that's happening in front of my face. Like I said, my drill sergeant said, the right people won't get promoted, the wrong people will. The wrong people will. And it's you would be remiss and you'd be naive if you didn't express that, acknowledge it, that it doesn't exist. If racism exists in the outside world, it's going to exist inside the military. It's just not so much as blatant as it is on the outside. I mean, I'm just going to be honest about it.
So I got to ask, so with you being a galvanizer and starting a move now, if you were still in the military and you had to come back the next day after everything happened, how would you approach your soldiers? How would you go about having this discussion?
First and foremost, and that's an excellent question. That's an excellent question. And I thought about this. How would I address this situation with my soldiers? First and foremost, I would never want my soldiers to feel like their voices are mute. First and foremost. So what I would do is I would get my soldiers in the room. Get them in the room. Let's get it out right now. Tell me how you feel. Tell me how you feel. Tell me what your sentiments about it. And I would give them each other a way to talk within each other and then to explain to them their feelings. And then at the end, hug it out, shake it out, and have them understand, hey, just because I don't think like, this way, or just because I think that way, don't mean I have a problem with you. You know what I mean? So that's the biggest problem about it. Soldiers right now, and I'm telling you, I'm here in Fort Hood, and it's not something I think, it's something I know. Because I've had soldiers show up at my rallies. I even had soldiers show me text messages and it made me extremely mad when I read this message. That his chain of command said, it's strongly advised that you guys do not show up to the protest. And if you do show up to the protest, you will get UCMJ action. Now, we know those four letters scare a lot of people. Now, we know as, senior NCOs that we know the process of getting something into a UCMJ action. We know by reading that wasn't accurate. But these soldiers don't know. So now they feel like they're muted. So now what they're going to do is they're going to harness all this anger, all this emotion, all these things that they want to get off their chest is going to reciprocate to people down. It's going to triculate to the other soldiers. I mean, it's going to come out to their superiors, their superior NCOs. So that's one thing I would do. All right, so you guys don't want, you can't go protest. Well, let's have a protest in this office. Let's talk.
Okay.
You know let's talk. Let's get it out. Let us get an understanding how you feel. Because, again, the worst thing somebody can do is harness a lot of emotion and a lot of anger and feel like they can't get it out without consequences behind it.
Okay. So, man, you have, I'm going to tell you, man, like you've never ceased to amaze me. I've been following your career, of course, as you know, since you've been out of the military. When you started having your fights on and you was putting the links on there, I was watching them. And I ain't gonna lie, I kind of took a little credit and was like, yeah, that's my cousin. That's my cousin. We just might be kidding each other. I don't know.
Somewhere down there, man.
We gotta be, man. We gotta be. We do too much thing. We act too much alike, man. So we just might be kin to each other. But your demeanor when you was in the military and the things that you've done in the ring, the accomplishments that you've done in the ring, and the way that you are moving now, being outside of the ring until everything gets back to normal. My question, man, hey, is there a future in politics down the line?
So funny that you said that. Right now, since Sunday, I was offered the position of being a campaign academy coordinator. Campaign academy coordinator. So what that is it's teaching anyone who wants to learn about what it takes to help run a campaign, what it takes to get into politics, what it takes to get somebody registered to vote. That's my biggest thing. That's my next movement is going to be called. So the movement I recently did was called Let's Move, period. Because they got tired of people standing around talking, complaining, but not doing nothing. The next movement is going to be called Let's Vote. Because you can't complain if you're not going out there to change the people that's in front. So that's first step. and again, we're doing a review board. We're going to have a review board. We're going to put these politicians' foot to the fire. We're going to make them stand by what they say, and we're going to make them talk to us. Mm-hmm. And when I say us, I mean people like look like us. Mm-hmm. Right? So that is definitely where we're going to be going next. It's definitely the move. No wavering. That has to be done. So my life in politics, absolutely.
Okay. What is this? There was a couple of soldiers to mention their command stated they are encouraged to participate in protests. It is not a discretion of the command. Is it not a discretion of the command? AR 600-20, 4-12. There are little
ambiguous.
Yeah, when saying you are not allowed to participate in extremist organizations and the current situation. So I will say this: there's always a gray area, and I know you've been in the military long enough. So some of the things I don't like about regulations and just laws in general is that it always they're very vague, and it leads for the interpretation of the individual that's dissecting that regulation of that law.
So
I like things cut and dry.
I can bet in real quick. From what I understand is this, and again, I'm not in now anymore, but I did look it up a little bit. Like she said, training is key for awareness. For how it is like this. From my understanding is, if the location of the protest is not one of those things that's off limits by a regular or by a memorandum or something that's been put into action, if that location, then it's okay. If they're not in uniform, it's okay. If they're not speaking for the Army in any way, it's okay. That is my understanding. Of course, there's vague areas. Of course, I didn't dabble too much into it, but I know there is a way that they can participate without fear of being reprimanded for it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that's some things there's some policy that's in place, man, and we're gonna talk about it. Actually, when I get done with this, I'm gonna come back on and make an announcement to the NCOPD Live family about some things that we're working on here, us as a team on the NCOPD Live page. So and actually, man, I might need to talk to you too and get you to come back and be a part of this panel that I'm putting together. But listen, man, I just wanted to bring you on and highlight you, man. So a lot of people want to know your page, what it is that you're working on. So let's talk to us about that before we get off. What you got going on?
All right, let me make sure I got and take a deep breath and inhale because there's a lot of
stuff. You got comedy, the radio station. Man, talk to us, man.
So you can follow me on my comedy page. It's Shut Up Hicks. That's Shut Up Hicks, all one word. As you can tell, I talk a lot. So I hear people tell me shut up all the time. So Shut Up Hicks is my comedy page. Facebook, you can find me at Reshard Javon Hicks. Somebody got a catfish on my page. I mean, so if you see anything other than that, it ain't me. Whatever. So anyways, then you have my group page, which is called, the URL is at Let's Move Killeen on Facebook. The group is at Let's Move Killeen. Again, all one word, no apostrophe s, none of that stuff. What's next? So I also have another page, Instagram page, 2 Quick Hicks. 2 Quick Hicks, that's my boxing page. And as a personal trainer, I also have another page, personal training page. That is _ Hicks Fit. Again, _ Hicks Fit. So Instagrams again, 2 Quick Hicks, Shut Up Hicks, _ Hicks Fit. Facebook, Reshard Javon Hicks. And our group page, Let's Move Killeen. Again, you'll be looking for me soon. I'm doing comedy. Got another show going on July 11th. I will be posting that live. We'll be going live. That's a free show. Man, yeah, I'm everywhere. Y'all get used to this space. I'm everywhere, y'all. I'm gonna be everywhere.
So y'all check this out. Listen, because this guy's up and coming. I'm telling you. But what we're gonna do is we're gonna get him to come back on here when we get done with this live and type all of his pages in there so we can make sure a lot of people want to go out there and follow you, man. And I follow you, man. I'm proud of you. We just gonna go ahead and adopt each other's cousins until we confirm.
We're cousins, man.
That's what we do anyway. Man. So, but listen, man, I appreciate you taking the time out, man. If you got any closing remarks, anything you want to say to the fans, man, the mic is yours. Go ahead.
Man, all I want to tell y'all, man, is just keep being great. Just keep being great, man. Again, I say this all the time. I absolutely missed my companions being in the military. You guys don't understand the impact you have. Yes, it's a lot. I know it's a lot. I'm sorry. You guys don't know the impact you have on those younger people looking up to you. So continue doing the right thing. Continuing leading the next generation of soldiers, and just continue being you.
Okay. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that was the one and only Staff Sergeant retired Reshard Too Quick Hicks. Wait, Too Quick. Shut up, Hicks. The one and only. I'm telling y'all, man. Listen, I've seen some of his comedy, his TikTok. Yo, so you got into TikTok too, I see.
Listen, man, that's a new wave, bro. That's a new wave, man. Listen, it's 35 years old. I'm gonna take advantage of this black don't crack. So
listen, man, I've seen some of his TikTok videos. When I tell you this guy's up and coming, and I will be proud enough to say, hey, you know what? I knew that gentleman. I served with him, and I'm just gonna slide it in there, and I'm gonna be like, yo, we cousins. So,
but don't make sure you don't say you knew me. Say you know me.
Yeah. So, man, so before we get off here, man, so when you so I've never been to New York, and when I saw that you was fighting in Madison Square Garden, man, listen, when I tell you I was trying to look at all avenues to get to Madison Square Garden, I was like, man, because I've never been.
That was dope, man. That was dope. Dope.
So let me ask you before I let you go, man. I gotta ask you this question. Man, so how did it feel being in what they call the Mecca of basketball arenas? How did that feel to know like you've reached Madison Square Garden?
Bro, I ain't gonna lie to you. I called my mom and I said, hey, mama, we made it.
Yeah.
mama, we made it. We here. Now, it was a humbling moment, bro. Like I just had to stop and take it in. Like I'm like, man, dude, you fighting in Madison Square Garden. It's people like Muhammad Ali fought here.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like you in here with greatness, bro. Like you here. No matter what my career turns into after this, no one can take that away from me.
Yeah.
So
man, Madison Square Garden. I was like, yo, he did it. Like, did you ever see, and I know, man, I'm trying to let you go, but did you ever see yourself fighting in a mega arena like that? Like,
I've always said I'm gonna win some titles.
Yeah.
Madison Square Garden, I was just like
the icing on the cake.
Icing on the cake, man.
Man, listen, man. I appreciate you taking the time out to come on to the platform, man. I've started this that I want to highlight a veteran every now and then, get them to come on the show and tell about their life experiences while in the military and their life experiences after the military. And it's good to see that you're still out there and you're giving it your all, man. Be it if it's being in the ring, be it if it's giving comedy, or be it that you're being an activist for your community and giving back to the people. So, man, listen, I appreciate you coming onto the platform, taking time out. I know you got your son there, man, so I definitely don't want to hold you too long, but we definitely appreciate you being on the show.
Appreciate y'all, man. Thank y'all for tuning in.
And ladies and gentlemen, as always, before we get off of NCOPD Live, you know how we end it. If you see something wrong and you fail to do something about it, you have just created a new standard. And at the end of the day, their issue is never with you, but their issue is always with the standard. This has been yours truly, Staff Sergeant Hicks, hashtag the professional SGL, with my special guest, Reshard Too Quick Hicks, signing off. Y'all have a good night.